This video will show you how to update your app on the public App Store. First of all, you will see your previous versions here at the top. What we need to do to request a new app is go through each of these sections and fill in the required information. On the first and the second parts, because you've already gone through these sections, these will already have information filled in. You only really need to make changes to these if there's anything that you need to update or if anything in your app has changed and it needs to be reflected in your app listing details. So I'm quickly just going to scroll through these. It's nothing really that we need to update at this time. If we expand the second option, you can see this is the App Store listing details, and I've got all of my previous information stored. I don't need to change anything at this point except the release notes. We suggest that with each new release that you do, you update these release notes to say what is new in your app. So this is one example of what you can put in your release notes. We're just saying bug fixes and content updates. If we expand the third drop-down area, this is where you need to log in with your Apple developer details. So I'm going to go ahead and log in with my details now. You need to make sure that you're logging in with the details for the public App Store account, and which needs to be set up to have two-factor authentication. I've already gone through this today, so I've already entered my two-factor authentication code earlier. So now it takes me straight away where I can select my team. I'm going to click this and select my team. And then I get to see the options I have for the distribution certificate. Now, we always recommend using the same certificate from your latest submission if you can. Now, if that has expired or for some other reason you can't use it, you can choose to generate a new one using the Flipgrid Studio. If you want to do this, just click this button and the Studio will generate the certificate for you. If you've reached the maximum number of certificates, then your option would be to upload a certificate from your desktop. You would just click this button and then you'll be able to upload it. Next section is your app-specific password. Now, your app might not have this previously because this is a new requirement from Apple this year. If you have it already, you can reuse the same specific password as you did in your previous submission. If you need to create a new one, please follow the documentation from Apple. You need to create this password inside your Apple ID account. Next section is the app version and bundle ID. Now, whenever you're making an update to your app, it's very important that the bundle ID is exactly the same as the app that's currently live. Otherwise, the app would be considered a new app rather than an update. It's also important that the version number is one step higher than the app that's currently live on the App Store. However, the Studio takes care of this for you automatically, so there's no need for you to make any changes or updates here. The next section is our app submission details. It's important to tell you that you review this information and that they're up to date. Apple will use these if they need to get in contact with you about your submission, if they have any questions or anything like that, they will use these details to get in touch with you. So look through these details, and then when you get down to actually the developer notes, I suggest you take a look at these and just make sure that they're still relevant for the app and the features that you have in it. If Apple finds that your reviewer notes are not up to date or they don't fit in with the app that they're reviewing, they will reject your app. It's important that you kind of use these notes to convince Apple to approve it. At any time, if you want to come in and do half of the submission or just enter some details, you can always click Save Progress at any point, and you can then come back in and finish it at a later point. Final step is clicking this green Request App button, and which means that the Flip Studio will automatically build your app and upload it to the Apple App Store once it's ready. We will always send you an email afterwards so that you know it's been completed, and you will then be able to come in here and see that you have a new version completed.